Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is admittedly awful, and we are back with another replay of Supreme Commander Forged Alliance multiplayer game against the Loud mod. Very exciting game here today. We got 4 humans down here in the south versus 2 AIs up here in the north and the south. Most lost noob going Seraphim in a very pleasant orange. Down here to his southeast is Andromeda going UEF in the mellow yellow. Civcorp in his usual tan going Aeon. And over here on the far east, we have Halcyon also going Seraphim. So no Cybern on the human side today, which makes me sad as always. Love that Cybern in their stealth. If I don't see a Monkey Lord in the game, it makes me a little sad, but we are going to enjoy it nonetheless. On the top here, on this northern island are the 2 Louds, and I believe they are set at 1.5 difficulty, if I recall correctly. So this should be a heady game here. Now, that being said, need the 1.5 difficulty because they're on this singular island, whereas the humans have all the mass points down here on these southern islands, so it's definitely going to be a necessary boost to the AI up there in the north. If you're unfamiliar with how the Loud mod difficulty works from the original Supreme Commander, so it's kind of it's essentially a setting. So 1.0 is standard, and then you can put it up at 0.01 increments if you want. But I would say, this is my own personal experience. Like 1.15, 1.2 is kind of close to like the cheating AI from the original game. But Loud does a much better job of kind of integrating the scaling difficulty than I would say the original game. Because one of the big things that Loud's about is performance, especially in the late game. And so instead of just giving it a raw resource and production buff, so it's churning out units, it does things in a much more gradual way where maybe it'll be a 3% buff to HP, or something like that. And I don't even know the exact specifics, but talking with Sprouto, the mod's creator in the team, they kind of filled me in on that was the design thinking when putting this together. So Loud mod, can't recommend it enough. If you're like me and sweaty PvP action, because your heart rate up a little too high, but you still want good challenge, I would say Loud is the best challenge that you're going to find out here in the Supreme Commander community. And great game, 20 years later. So if you don't have it, it's on Steam. Highly recommend. I think it might be on GOG as well. Don't quote me on that. But Steam one is the one I have. Definitely, still runs fine. Still runs great. Came out in 2007, the original Supreme Commander, and still has a vibrant community years later. Forged Alliance Forever is the modded community if you're into that PvP action. However, if you want to, just take on the Wireborn opponents, then Loud is the place for you. Link is down in the description to get the launcher, to download and set it up. Link to the Discord there as well. It being an older game, sometimes it has some stability issues that you have to kind of work through when setting it up. I did, I know when I came back to the game. But the Loud team on their Discord, they are the most helpful bunch. So any problems you have, just post your replay, post your log in there, and they will get to the bottom of it. So taking a poke around the map right here, looks like AI hasn't pushed down super far yet. Halcyon over here is actually taking a very aggressive position on this easternmost island and pushed up. And over here on the left, Most Lost Noob has kind of done the same. Now, not exactly perfectly symmetrical, these two sides right here. Little island down here as well. And then, yeah, some of these underwater mass extractors. That's one of the nice things that Loud has done that I definitely appreciate is it's added these underwater mass points to a lot of the maps that have water. And so the water domain isn't just about, oh, I'm here to support my main land domain. There's actually a fair amount of resources under the water. And if you're familiar with Supreme Commander, resources are your lifeblood, especially those mass extractor points. So gives you an extra incentive to get into the water, fight for that. And we'll take a peek at what's going on over here. Looks like Loud has already got some T1 subs out and is not letting... Oh, no, that's... either took out a mass extractor in the one build. Missiles going on there. It looked like you were shooting at that, so keep an eye on it. Down here, looks like Halcyon's already got some T1 frigates and a subfleet of his own out, so we're going to keep an eye on this little naval engagement. We got some hover tanks coming across from Loud. Those will not stand up well to the T1 frigates. They have enough range and damage to, deal with those in very short order. Anti-air on those also taking out that transport. See what happens here with these subs engaging. Halcyon defending his island over here on the east very well. And just trying to see if there's anything else interesting. And naval battle is ongoing. We will see who wins here. T1 frigates have some depth charges, but even just in terms of sub numbers, it looks pretty close. Or actually, not even close. It looks like Halcyon may have some more. So that is going to go his way. And some of those T1 frigates may have actually sucked up some of that damage sponge. And he got some more T1 frigates going in. So Halcyon here at the 11-minute mark already has a decent T1 Navy out. And production-wise, it's not super easy. I mean, it actually takes down here. Yeah, you take 10 mass to build one T1 frigate. So he's economy-wise doing very well. And he's pumping out land units over here. So good on Halcyon getting that aggressive push on Loud early, taking out some of these underwater mass extractors. Just checking over here on the left-hand side. He does not look like anything. And what we do have is some of the supporting players. Andromeda down here has got his own T1 sub-fleet coming up. So yeah, not letting Loud push out very far from his initial starting point, which is good, especially on that 1.5 difficulty scale, because he is going to expand and rapidly. Actually, you can already see right here. Yeah, 402 mass, 406 now, almost double what the humans are pulling in, and the humans have most of the southern half of the map under their control. I didn't mention this at the start. Restrictions, so it's kind of typical ones you see here. No T3 artillery, no nukes, and that's just kind of to give, a fun tactical gameplay, because especially late game it can evolve into, artillery base fight. Loud loves using nukes tactically, just nuke all of your platoons, and so it makes it a little less exciting to watch, but, you can have your own single player games set up however you want. There's also the crowd that does the ground pound method. So yeah, plenty of ways to set the game up as you will. Loud also comes with most of the common unit packs, unit add-ons integrated into Loud. So we've got kind of the standard Loud suite of mods, and they're all balanced with the units that exist in Loud. So one of the things that Loud does, in addition to performance and juicing up the AI, is actually balance all the units out. So there is no longer a best unit. There is a maybe best unit for a specific task. There's not like, oh, I need to go max up to megaliths, and the megalith is the end-all be-all for the cybrids, if you will. So another excellent addition by the Loud team. Halcyon using his fleet here to prevent those hover tanks from getting across. He's got another fleet coming up here already. Andromeda is coming to engage this sub-fleet here from Loud, keeping that pressure on, not letting him get a sizable fleet of his own built up. On the left side of the map, no pressure coming up here. It looks like Loud has already actually pushed out and taken the center island with some of his units. Humans haven't really contested that much, mostly focused over here on the east. See how far they push up here with these subs. Gotta be a little careful here. It looks like there's already some T2 units coming out from Loud at right here, right about the 15-minute mark. Keep an eye on that. T1 units keeping some of those planes off, because you got to watch out for those T1 torpedo bombers that are in the Loud mod. I forget which sub mod specifically they come from, but can be a threat in the early game against your sub fleet, so that's why integrated combined arms is important. So again, nothing here in the south. It looks like they're contesting the center island, pushing all the way up into this sub base here, or it's not sub base, but subs into his naval base. And taking out a few of those. We'll see if they actually come in and take out the naval yards altogether. Looks like that is exactly what Andromeda is going to do. T1 fleet sitting back, or the frigate fleet sitting back a little farther. Again, don't want to take too much fire from land-based artillery and whatnot. Let the subs get in there and take that stuff out where it is difficult for the enemy to counter it. And it looks like, yes, indeed, that is what's going to happen. But frigate fleet is pushing up to support, as he is pushing out some frigates of his own from his compatriot over here, Mr. De Rosa in purple, the Aeon. Seraphim and Aeon, allied together against the humans. And there go the naval yards. So excellent early push from the human side to take out some of those naval yards and not let them get too established. I think I should have checked. I don't know if one of those was T2, because I know over here he's got T2 naval yard up already. But looks like they are going to push all the way through and deal with that. So let's keep an eye on what's going on there. Yes, indeed. So there's a little bit of a naval battle going on here. Got to take out some of those ships first before you get to the naval yards themselves. Air staging facility. T2 fighter bombers in there though, so you gotta watch out for those, because those will take out some of those surface ships. It's like only one for now, some T1 bombers as well. Yeah, pushing up, and that may be all she wrote for. Oh, we got a Tech 2 destroyer out already from. It's gonna go down pretty quickly, I think, though, to this combined fire from. Does a lot of damage though, that's for sure. One of those shots from that. Is it an Oblivion cannon on there? Yeah, there's a lot of power. Center Island still being held by the AI though. Looks like Andromeda's pushing up another sub-force to support. Got a combined force out here from Most Lost Noob, and another fleet coming up from Halcyon. So again, applying excellent pressure very early on. See what's going on here. taking out that air staging facility, and just pushing up, yeah, a little farther to try to remove the rest of these naval yards. Great job on their part. Andromeda is going to run into this little naval facility down here. Well, not naval facility per se, but air staging beacon defended by his fleet, but he should more than be able to overpower that. Here, and actually starting to lose a fair amount of... he's got some T2 subs out, so unfortunately this assault up here in the north actually will not make it all the way through. I think that was the T1 they took out, didn't get this T2 on, but did set back this naval yard over here, so that is an excellent start. T2 subs pushing up over here. T2 naval torpedo launcher static will definitely apply some damage. Let's see if they're going to take that out or not. Could end the same way as this previous one did. Alright for now though, actually. Taking that out. Frigate coming in, frigates. Let's see if they actually manage to take out another one of these naval yards, but keep an eye on what is going on elsewhere. Andromeda setting up another line of subs here. Oh yeah, Loud trying to push down very early and establish a naval base here in the south, but that is going to fall quickly. Humans are well established on these side islands, although this one is under threat now. T2 attack right here, some blaze tanks coming across, and looks like Loud is going to take this western island back. See if he moves up to the naval forces. May not be able to hit all the way into the interior, but see what happens over there on that side. And this naval force has managed to take out one additional naval factory, not the T2, or no, T3 now naval factory, or this T2 over here. This may have been a T2 by the time that got destroyed. But that naval force is down. It's like Halcyon's got a decent amount of ships still over here. Mostly T1. May need to think about upgrading T2 here because it looks like Loud is starting to push out some T2 subs and some destroyers. Got a T3 bomber out already at the 21-minute mark. Strat bomber. So got to be careful there. Yeah, he's already dropping strat bomb. Yep, that's what he's going to do. T1 bombers coming in there. Die quickly. And Loud is establishing himself pretty substantially on the center island, though, so it's going to be quite the salient there that the humans are going to have to try to take back or push through. Another T3 bomber out here from the green Loud. Andromeda subs pushing up over here. Looks like Most Lost Noob did push his fleet up here, though, shooting into the hills there, or the train, micro train, stopping it. Andromeda subs engaging over here. It's like taking out some of these ships. However, there are some T2 torpedo launchers that may cause a problem. Loud tried to land some troops over here, but a T1 spam from Halcyon will prevent that from going very far. And we got up over here. Blazes engaging with the T1 frigates. It's a pitched battle, gonna lose a T1 frigate looks like. However, a lot of the blazes are going down, and this will be a victory for Most Lost Noob over here on the west. Subs are pushing through those torpedo defenses though, and taking out this little air staging beacon right there, which is fantastic. On the eastern side, yeah, Halcyon's got this island locked down. Stuff trying to be landed, but he's got his own T2 force right there, so that's going nowhere. And a decent sized T1 fleet offshore. Plenty of air down here. T2 air coming in from Loud, but that is a lot of T1 interceptors that CivCorp has up and established, so probably not going to go very far there either. Check out what's going on over here. Looks like a mixed T2, T1 fleet coming down here to possibly deal with the sub-fleet. We have a lot of anti-submarine weapons in that fleet for Loud, so he may struggle. Halcyon doing a great job taking down a T3 mass extractor. That will hurt Loud's economy just a little bit, which is what the humans will need. And trying to push across right here with a hover force is Loud, met by Halcyon's naval flotillas. Another one coming in here to support. Trying to shoot through these T2 shield generators, taking a bit of work though, and the fleet is starting to take a bit of damage, so let's see how this ends up here. Those T2 units, mix of T2 and T1. Losing some of those ships, surface ships there. Losing a lot of those surface ships, and Halcyon's naval yards may be in a bit of jeopardy here. It's got a T2 cruiser out. Looks like CivCorp's got some gunships coming into T2 gunships, so pitch battle here. We'll see who is able to win. T2 cruiser going down though. Shields back online. However, this force is starting to look a little bit weaker, and I do not believe they have any AA, and so that will definitely be brought down by those gunships. However, some T2 interceptors coming in to try to potentially provide a little bit of support. we'll see what happens here. Naval factory in the yellow, but however, most of those units are going down. It looks like up here in the north. Yep, doing another thing here with some hover units moving across, running into a sizable naval flotilla, and thinking better of it. And that's one of the great things about Loud, how they've kind of reworked the AI from the ground up. Instead of just throwing units one at a time at you, he'll form up platoons and attack you in force. And if he thinks the balance of forces are against him, he's not just going to throw himself at you. Oh, he'll pull those back and try and attack you whether you're weaker, or potentially, just come back with a stronger force and overpower your defenses. So, again, it feels like fighting a very smart opponent. Very good actual AI in one of these games. I can't imagine what it's going to do because this is not here. It was a 2007 AI that they're trying to just basically like increase the performance on. And it's already kind of scary. So AI is well established though on the center island. Yeah, I got multiple factories up, T2 air factories on a T1 land factory. Looks like Most Lost Noob is going to drive off the AI from this island over here that he lost previously. So good for him. Halcyon's still holding this island down here, and it looks like he's actually pushed up a few units to try to establish a forward fire base on this northeastern island, which is great. So you can kind of envelop him and just keep him back on this island right here. Keep him off some of these mass points. It'll just be all to your benefit over the course of the game. However, Loud is currently bringing in 2.5 times the amount of resources, so that's that 1.5 AI working against. He's running double the mass thus far of this team. What do we got going over here? T2 bombardment ship out. Applying a little pressure to the center island, which is what they need to do to kind of work down the salient right here. It's all great and well to move up here, but if he's applying pressure on you down here, like we kind of saw against that shipyard push. So yeah, bringing the bombardment ships in is the right call, I believe. He's got 2 of them lined up right there right now. A little offshore action, though. Not very accurate, if I do say, though. When they land, they do a lot of damage, but yeah, definitely used it against a massive units. Been watching this for what, 20 seconds now, and he's hit one time. So we'll keep an eye on that. And gotta be careful over here on the eastern side because Andromeda's got a lot of subs, but those are not super helpful against some of these hover platoons. And he's got one coming right towards his main base, so see how that goes. Could be a bit concerning, but he's got some T1 spam here in support, and then actually some T2 point defense, so probably will not make it ashore in any significant numbers, if they even do reach the shore. Over here, we've got a little air battle breaking out over top of these fleets. And looks like the humans are doing a good job of luring just some of the fighters in to fight over from the AA, which is exactly what you want to do. Over here, it's like Loud's got multiple T2 subs out against this flotilla right there, T1 flotilla, and is bringing the pain against that T1 flotilla. So bringing up some more units to support some T1 subs. I don't think it's actually going to be enough, though. Is it 5 T2 subs against a few of these? Yeah, that's a bit of damage. It's going to be a pitched battle for sure. Keep an eye on that. Down here in the south, air battle was won by the humans, still keeping up bombardment. Units did not make it ashore down here. They'll return to this fight up here, and it's like Halcyon will manage to drive off most of these subs, or sink them, I should say. 2 left there, and that should be, yeah, 1 more left. Those will be going down. We got under the water here. Previous assault tanks. T3 units under the water. Some cruisers applying some pressure to shore. Not all the way. Well, I mean, they've got some of these defenses, but not all the way into his deep part of his base yet, though. So we'll see how that develops. Loud trying to, look at this right here, trying to sneak through some units through this little gap in the lines. Loud is amazing, and this is how they designed it. So these air scouts are amazing at scouting the human position and then trying to make his way through, though. Air scout is encountering a cruiser and not air scout transport. And dropping, T3 cover tanks, and that's going to take the cruiser down. Yeah, and then you saw that right there. Loud ran that little gap right there. He obviously didn't know about that and just flew right into it. So he's an expert at finding those gaps in your line and making you pay. Looks like Halcyon has actually taken the entirety of these eastern islands, so good on him keeping Loud off of those. And even that mass point right there has been taken for the human side. Something was firing from far over there. Alright, looks like T3 Torrent missile ship, 2 of them out from Loud here at the 32-minute mark. So his Navy's got to be careful. That is a long range, and I don't think they have any defenses. Missing this little naval battle going on down here. It's like a mixed T1, T2 from Loud going against a T2 and T1 subfleets from the human side. Driving off the surface fleet very successfully, it seems. However, going to probably lose in time to this masked T1 subfleet down there. Yeah, those are going down. So a bit of a draw there. Well, I guess technically a victory for the human, but costly victory nonetheless. Halcyon's pulling back his T1 fleet from the north right here, tired of getting hit by those missile ships. Down here in the south, still applying this bombardment. Looks like T2 and even some T3 units trying to push across here. Air's got to be careful though. He's got some T3 anti-air coming here. Those T3 anti-air taking some fire from T2 destroyers offshore. So definitely going to be a bit of a mix right there. It's like some of them now actually Loud's kind of drawing some of his fighters in over his air defense. So definitely a bit of a back and forth right there. Swarm of air scouts out from Most Lost Noobs, checking out the situation. T3 fleet is pushing down here, though don't know if it has enough to deal with this T1 subforce and a bit of a T2 subforce right here. And yeah, Loud here at the 3440 mark has already built a experimental unit. So keep an eye on that, see if that pops up anywhere of note. Got a support commander out there taking some fire, but Halcyon's doing a great job offshore here of just, keeping that pressure applied. Looks like he's now trying to strike towards this more main base, maybe get rid of some of these point defenses for a push from the humans to come in and take that main island, or not main island, central island back. Though there is counter battery fire coming off here from some T3 artillery from Loud, pushing these T1 units back. So bit of a standoff there on the central island. No major push from Loud to retake this northeastern island. Looks like just kind of a stalemate over here on the western side. Loud's happy with this one, and Most Lost Noob holding that one down there. Oh, missed this down here. Yes, that T3 naval fleet did not have anything to deal with this masked T1 sub spam, and some T2 subs in there as well. And it looks like here comes. This is the big drop coming from Most Lost Noob. Curious to know if they coordinated this here, to have this bombardment kind of provide a little bit of offshore softening support. Good combined arms action if so, and good coordination from these two teams. Coming in to drop right in the middle of this T2 platoon. One transport does not make it, it appears. And, ooh, I don't know if that's going to be enough units. Yeah. It's going to be, and there's still a few too many T2 defenses, so looked promising on paper, and some T3 units in there. Looked promising as it was occurring. It's like Civ Corp is pushing his air coverage over the island, potentially as further supports. Oh, got some, those are not amphibious units coming across. But they are pushing their force. Oh no, I missed this right here. Yes, Halcyon has dropped some units as well, so as this platoon goes underwater, which may be engaged by these subs, Halcyon has brought his naval forces forward with support from Civ Corp and done a land drop. And we will see if they are able to push into this base and take it. But that is a fair number of T3 units there. But however, with this offshore support, hopefully it will be maybe sufficient to push through. But, ooh, it's going to be a close one. Still got a lot of units going there. And offshore fire support may not be enough because Halcyon is taking a lot of fire. Gunships up here taking a lot of anti-aircraft fire as well from that main base. May not have been soft enough. These units trying to cross down here, taking gunship fire, but plenty of anti-air there, so they're able to deal with that. Keep an eye on this fight up here in the center. Lots of bombardment from offshore. Factories going down, so doing some damage for sure, at least weakening this base. T1 units coming from Civ Corp against those T3s, that's not going to go well. And these land forces are not getting very far, but unfortunately the bombardment ships from offshore are able to put a lot of damage deep into this actual base right here, and oh, we've got a quantum gateway back there, I didn't even see that. Maybe bring down some of these factories, we will see. Just keep an eye on anything else going on. T1 subforce is pushing up over here. There's a amphibious assault platoon coming straight for Andromeda's factories down here. Subs are not going to be useful. But some surface vessels coming in to engage, keep an eye on that. Still a struggle there on the center islands. Keep an eye on this fight down here, see how it goes. This looks like mostly T1 units from Civ Corps going to assist. I do not know if that's going to be enough. This factory is maybe in trouble down here if they get any closer. Got plenty of air under the shield level too. Shield level is down though. Let's see if he starts engaging the gunships there, engaging these factories. Around that center island. Appears that not quite yet. Not all the human units have been driven off. And are these guys going to try and go ashore before they manage to take down this factory? They're going to get engaged by this T1 platoon right there. Factory is taking fire, but it seems they are shifting fire off of the factory onto these land units. Keep an eye on it. Big T3 push coming ashore right here, though, so it does not appear that that land assault will get very far. This factory has survived. Units are pushing in. T2 defenses in the back right here. Some more gunships coming in. Ooh, it's going to be close. And 2 T2s should, and those gunships should be able to deal with this, so do not expect that to get very far. Over here, it looks like, yeah, sizable T3 force pushing up, has pushed off the humans from their land forces. However, those bombardment ships are still applying a lot of damage ashore. Gunships in support. T3s are coming up to apply some offshore decrease. I don't know if they have the range to hit those guys, though, but there are some T3 artillery in there that may be counter battery firing. It is definitely a back and forth on this little island right here. This southern push has been denied and destroyed. The Halcyon's still got a decent sized fleet up here holding kind of that northern channel on the eastern side. This central island appears to be where the fight is shaping up, though, which of course makes sense. Did not realize that Loud had a fleet all the way down here, and he is taking out this T2 naval factory. That is going to go down. And he's on the second one. T1, T2 subfleet coming to defend. We'll see what happens there first. They manage to finish taking this down. Or if they alternate fire off onto the surface. T2 may go down. Yes, that one went down. However, these ships are going to suffer a doom to fate. Over here, looks like the bombardment ships have pulled back a little bit, probably from this counter battery fire they were taking from these Thau batteries on shore. So good counterplay by Loud there to drive off some of those bombardment ships. Nothing happening here, still in the northern channel, still held by Halcyon. Good on him. No major push over here. Probably could take out this if they wanted to. Looks like some drops coming in. Keep an eye on that over there. Transports dropping some hover units. Some undersea units. Those will probably die to subs at a sizable T1, T2 sub fleet right there. Another fleet hanging out. Doing alright. And what do we got going here? This drop trying to be made. Being made. Maybe not being made. Oh, still continuing on. Let's see where he ends up landing these guys. Looks like it's getting pretty deep into... Yep, there he is. Landing a T3 assault right here into Civ Corp's main base. Those T2 point defenses are not going to be sufficient. Ooh, we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. That is like bombers, torpedo bombers. I don't know what. See enough gunships coming in to assist, but this may not be. There's not a lot there. Is concerning. It's got some T3 units in defense. See if these gunships do anything. Don't know how much AI is here. Halcyon pushing up his bombardment ships to provide some offshore fire support, which is excellent because we want to defend this main base right here at all costs. And looks like it will be sufficient, that amount of forces being brought to bear to remove that threat. Up here in the north, looks like a attempted assault coming across from the AI to try and retake this northern island. Not intercepted by this naval force, so these units are able to march across uncontested. Loud reestablishing himself on the central island. Naval fight going on over here. T3 missile ship, but not going to do much against that amount of subs. Loud trying to do some T3 torque bombers against this fleet up here. Naval yards are still being defended, however there is a mixed hover and amphibious platoon over there trying to cross. Probably not the best idea when you don't have naval control yet completely. Over here, what do we got going on? Okay, let's go down. These guys are just hanging out under the water for a moment. Loud is trying to take the air back. Over there, he's got some gunships coming in. I don't know if that gunship will be able to hold against that much AA. A few more gunships hanging out. And yeah, that Navy of Louds is not going to hold up well against that amount of subs. That is a hefty sub force. So Halcyon still keeping his bombardment ships a little offshore here. A lot of return fire coming from the Central Island. Andromeda is making a push up with this subfleet to see if he can push in and take some of these naval facilities out a second time. Most lost noobs, surface fleet here, engaging with the surface fleet of Loud. Should go, numbers wise, no problem to, and quality wise, let's say the T1s mostly, to most lost noob. Subfleet engaging over there. Halcyon doing a great job of engaging these underwater units with his naval forces, moving those before they can get ashore and cause the real damage. And continuing to hold this naval channel on the eastern side just fine. Andromeda pushing up, managing to take out a decent... Oh, we got a T3 sub out here. A lot of torpedoes, though. And torpedo bombers coming in, though, so that's going to be concerning for sure. Okay, what's going on down here? Loud's still trying to push across with his amphibious units, however, that's not going to go well for this one. There's a lot of ships over there in defense. Over here, yep, these ones going down. Subfleet is still engaging up here from Andromeda, doing good work, taking out that air staging facility and a decent number of those ships. We'll see if he pushes up into the main shipyard. Loud has managed to get, probably by an airdrop, some units ashore here on this northern island, siege tanks and battle bots, which are dealing handily with Halcyon's land forces. He has some naval units offshore, but it may not be enough. It's going to take out this mass extractor as well, so good play from Loud right there, taking that island back. And what do we got here? Arthrobots. Taking a lot of fire from these subs, though, as it comes through the water. Little lobster there. Very slow on land, but... Ooh, may not even get ashore. Oh, no, he managed to do it. Woo! That was very close there. I'm not sure he was going to make it ashore. And down here, T3 platoon suffering an untimely fate from the naval forces. However, actually, Ron has managed to push a decent number of units. Oh, those are all amphibious units, so they're going to die to those subs probably. Yeah, same thing there. It's kind of a mixed unit. Those bombardment ships will be able to ships on the surface, and the amphibious ones will come in and die to the submarines. Support commander going down there, who's in the air. And we'll see. So it looks like for the moment, it's kind of blockading this island here, preventing, kind of like I saw that right there, that Arthrbot from getting across. However, it does not stop the air attack, and gotta watch out for those torpedo bombers that may be pushing in. This platoon is, yes, suffering an untimely fate. Not too surprising. Gunships trying to engage this naval flotilla, but I did not think that will be enough. And it looks like Halcyon has responded to that lost Northern Island with a substantial T2 force, which has retaken it, so good on him for that. And bombardment ships gotta watch out. These guys are getting a little close over here. But I think most of the DPS is underneath the water, so they're actually going to be alright. And here come the T1 subs to deal with that, so that will be the end of that. Andromeda doing a good job just keeping this naval blockade up over here on the Western Channel. This little mixed T1, T2 force over here from Halcyon is starting to take a bit of damage. Yeah, you got a battleship from range, torp bombers dropping torps in. So it's starting to get attrited down a little bit. He can move some of his naval forces up here to support this northern island. So got to be careful there. Exactly. Moving up his bombardment ships to, again, try to soften up this beachhead here, taking out that artillery onshore that was causing some pain. Andromeda pushing across to help defend both sides of this channel. Not pushing in on this main base, naval base yet. A lot of offshore fire there, softening things up again. Oh, I did not see this down here. Oh no, those are the same units. So siege tanks underwater are going to take a lot of submarine torpedo fire and will be destroyed in short order, but not too short order because they have a lot of HP, I think. So that'll take a minute. T3 mixed fleet right there, T2, oh, and units pushing out, but again, not a lot of, well, there's some submarine hunters there, yeah. We've got to be a little careful up here, though. That's a large volume of torpedo fire striking back. So it has appeared as if Halcyon's surface fleet has been driven off from that close position it was holding. However, Andromeda's excellent subsurface fleet is doing a great job pushing in. May actually be able to take out some of the naval yards, so keep an eye on that. Got another one coming up over here, T2 sub fleets. Bombardment ships doing their thing. Excellent positioning right here, right behind this kind of, so no direct fire units can come up and kind of really engage them super easily. So that's a good placement, almost. Excellent placement of those bombardment ships to keep that fire support ongoing. T3 fleet pushing in, but don't think that's gonna go well. Oh, I didn't realize we had an alliance ship in the water here, but what she can do under the water there. More of a land unit. This naval unit is naval flotilla, I should say. A support cruiser. Taking out some of these surface ships, but there are a lot of subs there that will be able to handle that handily. Keep an eye up here. Andromeda is pushing in to deal with a lot of these T3 naval factories, so that will be a substantial victory for the humans. Oh, and we got a Tsar out already. So this, yes, will be excellent work by Andromeda. So that'll take a minute to get those back up and running again. This undersea force dying to all the subfire. Got some Shoeshores coming in. Northern Island still held by Halcyon. Subfleet pushing up. Having to engage some enemy submarines that are coming in, but there are still a fair number of torpedo bombers striking against them. So getting whittled down slowly. We'll see how many of these they actually end up managing to remove. Even the two would still be substantial, but there's a lot of return fire coming in from Loud here. A lot of torpedo bombers and some submarines of their own. This one, oh, maybe a third one right here, though. That one's going down. Yes, indeed. And looks like they might get this one as well. Keep an eye on that. Got a experimental naval factory coming online for Halcyon. Managed to drive this push back ashore, and looks like that Alliance went down. Arthurobot is moving slowly, not fully underneath the water. Looks like Halcyon has finished his experimental naval factory. And it looks like Andromeda is actually going to be able to take out almost all of these factories before dying to this fire that is inbound. So good on him. That was an excellent push, taking out a lot of naval facilities. It's this last one here. DPS is going down. Loud is already building one right next to him. But that T3 one does go down. So great work on Andromeda right there. Loud still trying to push some amphibious units across, but not going to get very far against all those subs. Got a Tsar just kind of moving around, doing its thing. Is that what control route it's on, actually? Kind of seems that way. So it works, though. Keep the enemy anti-air off. A little air staging as well. More subs coming up from Andromeda. It's like a mass T2 subfleet now. So trying to capitalize on this lack of naval production that they have removed from the Feljulish. Yeah, my Seraphim is not very good. And Northern Naval Flotilla under torpedo bomber fire. However, a lot of AA will probably keep them alive, though taking some attrition. Let's get more coming in. Looks like bombardment ships have pulled off for the moment, or were destroyed. May have been destroyed. Might have been by that Tsar. I missed that. Andromeda pushing up with another naval force. Torp bomber fire still ongoing over here. It's a lot of T1AA, but it takes a while to whittle down those torpedo bombers, that's for sure. And Andromeda pushing against Tech 3 missile ship there. Going to take a lot of inbound fire and go down. So yeah, Loud, can't recommend it enough. And so the Loud team, this I believe came from one of the normal weekly games. So every Friday and Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, is the regularly scheduled game. All are welcome. Hop on in. Very friendly crowd. I've been to a couple now. Really enjoyed myself. Don't feel bad if you're not a good player. I am definitely not. Definitely bring the team's average skill rating down. But don't worry, everyone. It's a jovial group. No one's super intense about ranges if you make a poor mistake. So yeah, come on in, join us next any of these Fridays or Saturdays. Loud team, get on Discord, hop on around 10 p.m. and join the group. Oftentimes have multiple games up because we have so many people these days. So community is alive and well. Looks like Halcyon is moving up to engage this force that is trying to push across over here. A little air battle going on, but that's going to go the humans' way most likely. A lot of anti-air fire offshore. Andromeda pushing up over here. Yep. It's like mostly T1's coming out from Loud for the moment. Yeah, that Czar is definitely running a lot of anti-air support for sure. Another force down here, just keeping those units off. Though they are starting to sneak through a few. Andromeda's built a experimental of his own. Appears to be a experimental factory. That'll be helpful. Air cruisers there. The Cloud has given up on trying to take out that northern fleet for Halcyon. Andromeda still providing a lot of damage on these T3 units over here. That T2 subforce. And we'll see if reclaiming, I think, that Arthurobot there. It's a good amount of mass. And luring in some of these fighters again to engage over friendly human AA with... There's not a lot of human fighters these days, so we're going to have to rely on that human AA quite a bit, actually. And another experimental coming on shore. Another Arthurobot. So this thing's pretty cool. It will actually, if you can get it underneath an enemy fleet, it will actually reach up and like melee the ships down and eat them. So pretty cool animation. We'll see if we see it, though. Problem is, it doesn't do super well against this mass torpedo spam as we saw previously, so mostly good against a surface fleet. Very slow on land, though. So it looks like bombardment ships are trying to start pushing up again. Subs keeping these amphibious units back. And got a naval battle, but some hover units trying to push through over here, but it is not going to be enough to deal with the ships and fleet of Most Lost Noob. So a bit of a stalemate for the moment. Humans have been pushed back from that original push on this island, however, doing a good job in the naval game. Did a push up, destroy these naval factories here for Fell. I'm not going to say his last name. So it took out almost all these T3 naval factories for Fell, and looks like Andromeda's going to try and do something very similar again on naval factories of DeRosa. Let's see how successful that one goes. Or is. Applying offshore fire. Got some T3 battleships here now, applying some direct fire. But starting to get a decent bubble matrix up here is Loud. So it's going to take a lot of fire for sure to break through it. A lot of experimentals starting to get built, so we'll see as those starts approaching the front lines. And Andromeda is attempting to push in with his sub-fleets. T3 fleet pushing out right here. We'll see if he engages that first. Yeah, dealing with these submarine hunters. There are some torpedo batteries, so falling back for the moment, probably to deal with these piecemeal, which is the right call. And Halcyon continuing to... Ooh, here. What are these guys going to think they're going? Loud attempting to make another push through this air net, though it does not appear it's going to get very far, taking a lot of fire on the way. Planes rallying, and yes, that little air assault will end before it arrives. Offshore fire support continuing in both directions, though it looks like... I'm not sure where the artillery for Loud went. They had a lot of counter battery fire earlier on. Still some coming out, but not too much. Andromeda rightly dealing with this surface fleet before he pushes on into this main base. Halcyon continues to hold this northern island, no problem. Loud appears to have given up on it. Naval force T2, T1 coming out there against this bombardment ship. And try to see if there's anything else of note. Yep. These guys are not going to be able to deal with that amount of sub-force coming in. One of the problems with the Aeon ships is they're very focused on their specific tasks. They don't have torpedoes and main guns, for example, so if you don't bring the right combination of units, you can get hard countered fairly easily. Naval force here, pushing up. And still one in the south here, providing us that offshore bombardment. Arthrbot pushing forward, but probably will not make it through that sub-spam. Air battle. Still tricky either way. Torp bombers coming in, however, there's a lot of T3 anti-air from that fleet now, though, so those will not do too much damage. We got here mixed surface fleet there. Again, I think dealing that blow to Fell's naval yards that Andromeda with the subfleet has really set them back on the naval game. So it's going to be a very insurmountable hurdle to try to get back into water and reestablish themselves. Because you see it right here, he's pushing out T1, T2 units. So he's got this T3 yards, but against the amount of subs that are here, about the size of this naval force, especially with these experimental factories pushing out units, it's very difficult to retake the water. So 2 Arthrobots down here, though. So a lot of offshore fire coming in from the humans. It's not brought down these shields yet. Czar decides he wants to keep his patrol route going. And Andromeda, well, he's taking some damage here from. They are actually starting to get some T2 subs out to provide some counter fire of their own. Not enough, but enough to stall him from pushing in against this main base. So the bombardment continues. And trying to figure out there. Honestly, that's got a decent T3 ASF midget there as well. I didn't listen to what we got here. Oh no, Watsa is out from, and it's going down very quickly to those ASF. So managed to get A bomb off. Maybe take out some of those T1 ships, but rallied to by Halcyon's ASS. Excellent play. And one of these shields is down over here, so the bombardment is providing some effect. And Halcyon actually was able to lure in the ASFs from Garoza, so the victory there. There's the Colossus up in the water here. Where he's going. It's going to take a lot of fire from the subs, though, so have to be careful. More subs out from the AI over here. Not in sufficient quantity, but enough to, again, yeah, push back at least against Andromeda and keep him from pushing in. So it's the right counterplay. And looks like also a lot has managed to retake these islands over here on the western side. So naval battle ongoing here. Universal Colossus underneath. Tsar ashore, either being built or just landed. So good push from Halcyon, preventing them from getting. Oh. Tsar is up and is bringing that main gun to bear. I feel like I'm watching Independence Day. Don't know if there's enough anti-air here to deal with it. And the Universal Colossus is on shore providing some support as well. So this is quite the battle going down here. T3 push, but it looks like it is taking a lot of damage. Oh, the Tsar will go down though. It's too much AA fire, and actually there's still a fair amount of T3 units up and running there for Halcyon. Air superiority fighters for Halcyon were providing support along the whole time, which is good, because this fleet is still up and functional and pushing onward. Very nice that they took out that Universal Colossus, but focused on the naval, which is probably the correct call. Not going to second guess Halcyon here. He's playing very well. And going after those T3 naval yards again. Excellent work. So yeah, trying to get reestablished in the water and preventing it. It's like Andromeda has pulled back his subs to deal with a crossing attempt from the AI over here, though he's putting one behind him, so has to deal with that quickly and then get back over there to deal with that. Offshore naval fire, fighting against some T2s right here. So I will say the AI did manage to weaken this force quite substantially, taking some onshore fire as well. You can see right here, as cruisers are taking a bit of a beating. Subs are going down, so Halcyon, rightly so, is going to fall back. Some hover units coming in there to just do a little more DPS. Don't know if it's going to be sufficient. And Andromeda is dealing with that push and pushing over here. Looks like Halcyon is also putting up his battleships against this force here on the central island. Hover tank there, is that what he's trying to take out, or is he still applying most of his damage on shore? And Halcyon withdrawing the remains of that fleet there. Keep an eye on what's going on here. Hover tank is engaging, taking on some of these T2 destroyers. But is taking a lot of fire himself and is thinking better of it and falling back. Offshore bombardment of the central island continues. Shields are flickering on and off, so it's definitely applying pressure, that is for sure. That hover tank may be going down. Taking battleship fire? Yes, it is. Battleship fire ongoing. Takes it down. Yeah, Loud retook this island over here. He's got some subs pushing up of his own. Giving up on this northern one for the moment. And still a lot of fire on Central Island. Ooh, watch out for that. I forget what they call that thing, but... Oh! Big landing incoming here from Halcyon. One transport just goes down before it drops off. Second one goes down as well. Some units making sure, but he's got a lot coming in here. This is a sizable push coming in. Trying to get these units ashore. Shields are going down. That is a lot of units being dropped. And those are T2, it looks like, for the most part, taking a lot of fire. Support coming from offshore as well, but Loud is rallying his troops. See if they can hold and secure the beachhead. Does not appear as if they're able to. One final transport, but one final transport too late, it seems. Does not seem like they were able to. Game paused by Andromeda there. Does not seem like they were able to push forward, though. They take down that shield generator, or just dropped it for the moment. Andromeda pushing back up with his sub fleets now that he has secured that southern channel down there. Shore fire still continues. T3 missile ship applying fire from a distance. And this bombardment is doing work, though looks like starting to get some counter battery fire. There's a lot of health on these battleships, so it may take a while to get them down. Andromeda pushing up over here. We'll see if he is able to drive all the way into, but another, not a lot of subs there to deal with this, so probably deal with that and then push in on the naval base. Offshore naval bombardment, continuing to apply pressure. Advanced point defense over here, though. Well, that's going to do much against direct fire, so we don't have the right thing to build specifically. Looks like Halcyon pushing up to deal with that naval flotilla that is out from Loud right there. Have more than enough forces to be able to do it. Provided he doesn't get too close to his land-based. He's got plenty of T1 subs that the land-based stuff can't hit, so that, and he's got them in the pincer between these two fleets right here, so it will likely not go well for. Yeah, they're taking a beating, that's for sure. That's gonna go down. What's going on here? Pulling off his battleships from the bombardments. Is he coming up here to bombard up there? He's found a weaker entry point. We'll find out. A lot of units there for Loud. And Andromeda's fleet is keeping this channel clear for the moment. Driven off most of, looks like, the naval forces of Loud. And here we are back to where we've been for a little bit. I mean, plenty of action back and forth. And that's that 1.5 Loud for you. But humans are holding their own. Halcyon doing great work over here, and Andromeda doing great work with his subs. Lost these islands over here on the left. We'll see if they move up to retake them. And yeah, this center island has been quite the thing to watch. Subs coming in over here is a large navy that Halcyon has amassed. Plenty of battleships and subs and all sorts of goodness. Got some T2 subs working on the T1 subs of Halcyon. Don't think it will be sufficient to deal with it though. Yeah, that's... What's this still hanging out there though? Heavy cruiser over there. And maybe they are coming for the Colossus now. There he is. Taking some offshore fire. May end up being too much. Or kind of being split between a few different things. He is taking it though. We'll see if the ships manage to deal the final blow. Yeah, slowly ticking down there. T3 subs out over here, applying some distance pressure. And one process. There he goes. Now they're focusing fire. Yeah, he's going out fast there. Alright, now he's down. And see if there's anything exciting going on down here on the channel. Does not appear so. Loud continues to hold it just fine. This is the main fight over here as foreshore. Yeah, just doing a great job applying an offshore fire, taking out a lot of these units as well as the transports. Getting that Universal Colossus was good. Just, yeah, kind of whittling him down, whittling down his forces. That's what you want to see. And looks like he's returned some fire over here. Going to reestablish fire on the central island. Loud is engaging with his own naval forces. Pretty good battle if I do say so myself, though. Halcyon's got quite a few T3 and experimental forces over here. Love a good naval battle, though. And he's doing a good job of bringing his units down. Not kind of trying to fight these one at a time, piecemeal. That's the way you want to do it. It's amazing, you know, almost 20 years later, this game looks pretty good still. I do say so myself. I mean, textures could use a little bit of an upgrade, but I don't think the quality of that water, I don't think that's anything better in the modern day. And looks like he was bringing some units up here to support, kind of reestablish, because he lost a lot of those supporting T1 and T2s right there, and Loud is pushing some T2 subs back down. So he's combining these naval forces here. Again, excellent choice. Andromeda, defending the channel, has not pushed up to deal with much yet. What do we got here? Experimental A cruiser. T2 subs, trying to do some work. Got some more coming in, but T1 subs and fire from, some T3 subs as well. So not going to be enough to achieve naval dominance over there. Loud is reestablishing himself in the water. T3 naval factories online. Definitely a war of attrition here. And this is why, again, why the economy is so important. Because you are going to lose a lot of units, so the more mass you have, the more units you push out. Obviously, good tactical play is what you want, but if you are able to outproduce your enemy, that's obviously always going to be an advantage. Now, this would be kind of a point in the game, usually around the hour mark, when you might start to see, if there weren't the restrictions, the T3 artillery and nukes start to make an appearance, and it could potentially be useful, especially when you kind of get these stalemated options like this, right? Can be used, and Loud probably very effectively, if there were not any form of strategic missile defense down here. Nuke one of these, naval platoons, very good at targeting those. Nuke some of these outlying islands, just again, using T3 artillery, which has been balanced, so it's not as overpowered as it probably was in the original game, but using it to apply pressure. And one of the ways it applies pressure is, a lot of times it's economic pressure, right? So you can be wailing on shields, but those shields, especially they get knocked down and have to recharge, start drawing on power. And Loud has rebalanced power to be as much of a constraint as mass in this game. So it's one of the early games you build a few T3 power generators, you're good for the rest of the game. Here, it's just a constant battle of, I always feel it's like I'm actually more power constrained than mass constrained in a lot of cases. So it is just one more tool in the toolkit that Loud can use to apply pressure to you. You can use to apply pressure to him as well. So looks like Halcyon is making a push into these naval yards, pushing out his T3, T1, T2 fleet here against this naval yard. We'll see how it goes. And a little too close over there with that battleship to that land force. That is moving down very quickly. That was a mistake. I don't know what he's intending there. Loud's got, Tech 3 of his own pushing out here. Arthur-bot over there, subs coming in. Taking out one of the factories. Losing a decent amount of these ships, though. This may have been a minor mistake to push in that aggressively. But I will say Halcyon's got the naval experimental factory, so he can replace losses probably a little bit faster than Loud can over here. Yeah, it's impressive how many, given that these were all destroyed, how many battleships Loud managed to push out in this time. And some submarine hunters down there. And they're just trading fire over distance here. And maybe just too many battleships, yeah. Now there's a huge number of submarines here, but pushing in some subs of his own to deal with those. Got a square shield online here on the main island. Notice that. That's gonna make that much harder to push through. Loud is very good at layering his shields. And Halcyon rightly pulling back the remains of his naval force over here. Garma's got a decent, I mean substantial T2 sub force over here. Actually gonna make T3 subs mixed in there, but it looks like it's mass T2 sub spam. And again, against a Aeon who is not doing the same thing, it's going to be very difficult. It's an excellent counter against Aeon's design of warships. Okay, here. Support artillery bots. Trying to get back ashore. Trying to see if we got an Arthur bot in the water eating ships, but not quite yet. Looks like Loud has managed to put a decent amount of shore mobile artillery to counter any push from the humans. Got like going back to shore over there. Shoeshores Fortbot is taking a decent amount of fire though, even just turn fire or do something. Some pathing issues right there. Oh, Andromeda is pushing up over here with his subs again. Keep an eye on that. T3 sub or torpedo defenses though here in the water, so he's not pushing them off, pulled them off to go with this fleet over here, so let's see how this goes. Is taking those out though. This fleet is being dealt with post-haste. Battleship fleet over here, engaging Halcyon's isolated ships. Pushing them back. Looks like Andromeda is getting some penetration through these defenses over here, causing some damage. Human fleet has been driven off from attacking the central island, so they gotta apply pressure where they can, which is what Andromeda is doing. Oh, another pause there for a second. That was about. Active pause, maybe. And we're back at it. So, breaking through these defenses over here. T3 battleship going down. He's got some T2 subs in defense. Well, that is just a lot of T2 subs from... He'll lose quite a bit, but hopefully deal a sizable amount of damage. This naval fleet over here is engaging this northern fleet of Halcyon, so good play by the AI. That fleet was causing him some problems, so he's bringing up a superior force. Yeah, those T3s are going to do more than deal with it. But Halcyon is bringing up his fleet to support it now that it has kind of gotten away from the space over here. So they are distracted, and here comes the hammer on this anvil to deal with this fleet from the AI. Great play by Halcyon. Been doing that a lot this game. Yeah, those are going down. Oh, going down eventually. A lot of HP on the battleships. And let's keep an eye over here. Yes, Andromeda is pushing into these naval yards and has already taken out some. And these are upgraded naval yards as well. One of the nice things in Loud, you can almost you can quite get T4 factories, but it's almost a version of that where, because Loud has what I would call, or they call, T3.5 units, so they're kind of like units that are more advanced and abridged and experimentals and whatnot, but they take a long time to build. Maybe not on the naval side, but especially on the land side. And so you can actually upgrade your factories a little bit once they hit T3 with kind of some production and, well, production bonuses where reduced materials, reduced build speed. So if you can, but it takes a while to upgrade them, it takes resources, so if you can get those knocked down, these kind of T4 upgraded factories, it will be a substantial blow to his production. And there's so many subs here that it does not appear that Loud has anything able to counter it. He has lost his naval forces over here, caught in that pincer movement by Halcyon. Looks like Arthurbots moving slowly, has not managed to quite get ashore. What do we got over here? Multiple Arthurbots. Oh, and Thowissel is artillery support bots, providing his own pressure. Got a little shield of his own. But that does make it much more difficult for... Oh, we got one over here. Drop coming in from Halcyon, escorted by fighters, retaking this island over here. And Halcyon's micro, I don't know how he manages all this. Very impressed. And more than enough to retake that island right there. I don't think they built a mass extractor, but at least prevent Loud from doing it, as well as potentially hold it for themselves. And Andromeda has just done tons of work here. He is kicking Loud completely out of the water, taking down all of these factories, just one left over here. And he probably could move on these ones over here if he so desired. Loud is attempting to counter this onshore bombardment by moving a fleet over, but I don't think it is going to be sufficient in number. Kind of close. No, I think Halcyon's still got the spear over here. And he's kind of getting wrapped around this island pathing-wise and coming in one at a time. Yeah. Oh. Kind of pitched, but it looks like I think it's the spread of fire from Loud is giving the advantage to Halcyon there, who I think coordinated his fire a bit more. And using those transports now take this northern mass point where the Loud did have a mass extractor, which has now been removed. So penning him in on this main base here. So it was very wise, I would say, of kind of ignoring this salient here, which he had built up really defensive, and the humans are attacking him where he's weakest. So he's got all these defenses right here. So okay, we'll push in here and destroy his naval gates. Oh, we'll keep him off these mass points on the side. So isolating him here in the center, reducing his economy, that is the way to do it. Little air battle going on over here. Looks like that's going to go Halcyon's way. He's got the numbers. Experimental push sort of going on over here. I think the problem is this Arthur bot is in not in melee mode, he's in like siege mode. So he could be moving a little bit faster, but he's actually trying to shoot. Those cannons are actually doing some work, though, I will say. Chunked that bombardment ship, which goes down. And another one coming in, potentially. Did that... I was trying to figure out where the artillery bot went. But it may... Oh, no, it's right here. No, it's not the artillery bot. Oh, the melee bots. I'm trying to figure out where the artillery bot went. Andromeda is pushing in on to Fell's naval yards, so this may be the third time. I don't think Halcyon actually got all the way in. It's got a couple of them, but second time that the AI will be knocked out of the water completely, which is good for humans, not good for the AI. And we got over here. Salt mech running across. There's so many T2 subs that there's not much you can do without spamming T2 subs of your own to counter it. And applying fire offshore. King Raptor hanging out here. Yeah, those T3 and called T4 factories are taking fire over there. Looks like trying to counter push on these islands over here. We'll see if that works. Halcyon's got a supremecommander putting some static defenses online. Andromeda still causing havoc in the water. Siege tank pushing across. Trying to assault some land units over the water, going to end poorly. Gunships are, unfortunately, this guy's sticking out, got his head above the water, so gunships are able to apply a lot of damage on him as he tries to cross. Did manage to take out what looks like to be naval forces defending here, though there are some T1s coming up to assist. Still some T3s there from Halcyon. This guy's going down. We got over here sniper bot into the water. He's swimming. That's what it looks like. Looks like he's swimming. Pretty cool. And over here, yep, subs still wrecking havoc. Here's that fleet from Most Lost Noob will defeat this assaulting T3 force, mix of hover and amphibious. And Andromeda still pushing through, applying damage to everything in his path. Arthurbots pushing. We got one of these cruisers at least. Goes down. And a lot of these ships are pretty damaged over here for Halcyon. Yeah, I had anything else to support. This could be going a completely different way. And that is down. Same for the ones down here. A lot of mass to be scooped up if the humans so desire. Navy yards are diminished. By diminished, I mean almost completely destroyed, except for this T2 one down here, which is quickly also going down. Alright, so they have isolated the central island right here, siege it down. They've taken the surrounding islands, so now it's going to be the difficult task of actually pushing in and taking these main islands here for the AI. Just looking at it, I mean, oh, he's got all mass units right there, so that'd be nice to tackle with some offshore units. But it's like a bit of gap in. I mean, he's got some T4 launchers right there, so he's got plenty of static defenses up around his bases that will make it difficult. Mostly, it looks like air defenses. Yeah, T4 SAM launchers. I'm not seeing too many experimental point defenses. So, will be a difficult nut to crack for sure, but potentially a land/sea invasion will be the best way of doing it rather than trying to attack from the air. But doing a little sail, that's cute. I like that. It's a nice animation. It's a lobster just swimming along. Subs are taking out this King Raptor who is in the water. Poor choice by him. Getting some fire from some T3 torpedo launchers over there. And we will see what the humans choose to do in terms of how they choose to assault. Battleship is getting a little weak over there. Is he going to swim up and attack one of these? We actually get to see the melee animation. He's rolling right past him. Flying DPS, but taking a lot of fire. Apparently he wants to go ashore. Which looks like he's going to do, but taking a lot of fire from offshore and onshore as well. A lot of mobile heavy artillery there, so he's not going to get very far onshore. Oh, let's get a little farther than I expected, actually. And walking right over that T3 artillery, that's a great way of destroying it. There's a lot of T3 units up there, though. T2 units. So, we'll get DPS down. There he goes. They'll go farther than expected, but it's not far enough. So, subs keeping Loud out of the water here from Andromeda. Excellent work on that front. Got some more naval flotillas pushing up. Most lost noobs. Got a little naval fleet over here. Attack defenses built on this island. A large platoon up here. Very hard to retake that, I believe. And trying to see if there's anything else of note. T3 torp launcher static defenses in the water here, defending the crossings. Loud is trying to sneaky, trying to get his naval back online by building on the north side of that island. So we'll see how that goes. Trying to cross here, but subs are going to make it very tricky, very difficult to do. I do want to point out, again, this is thanks to the excellent work of the Loud team, the performance here in the late game, right? We're at 6,000 units. Game speed is still actually running at +1 sim speed, which is very impressive. If you remember the original Supreme Commander, maybe going at like -10 would be like every minute took like an hour to do when you get to the late game, which really made the late game unenjoyable, especially when you get kind of some of those exciting experimental units. So credit to the Loud team for optimizing and managing to make this experience that much better. And from what I heard from Sprado, there is a update coming in the not too distant future that will both increase the capability of the AI, but also be a benefit to performance. So big update coming at some point. So look forward to that. Look forward to seeing the AI being even scarier than he is now. Can't wait for that. Loud trying to cross with a little amphibious. We'll see if Andromeda rallies to defeat that. Some offshore fire coming back in. Humans appear to completely dominate the air as well, so feel confident engaging, chasing some fighters down over top of those air defenses there. Strap armors there, doing some work. Trying to push some units across the water there. Oh, subs have spotted the experimentals trying to cross and are applying a lot of damage. Wow, I think just got obliterated, basically deleted. Cloud getting his factories back online here in the north. The Rosa is not quite doing that yet, but let's see what happens. This crossing has been defeated as well. Just keeping him out of the water over here. That's what you gotta do. So we'll see what Team 1 knows about. Yeah, they don't know about this naval yard up here quite yet. Well, King Crafter didn't make it across, but the subs got distracted, so these two Galactic Colossi will make it through. And Artillery Bot randomly trying to cross, though I don't think that's going to go well for him. There's a lot of subs up here now. Sniper Bot also going to meet the same fate. So yeah, Loud is penned in here. Got offshore bombardment coming in on this eastern part of the island. Another fleet pushing up here to cut off these reinforcements that are coming in, as well as potentially provide some offshore support. So we will see how they are able to drop the hammer on this AI and see how they manage to defeat his very impressive defenses. And that's one of the things I've enjoyed about this game, is that even when you think you've kind of won, it is he makes it hard. Like, he does not give up, and it is a struggle all the way into like his main base. You will be losing units left and right. Sometimes he'll even defeat your little push if you don't make it strong enough, because he builds. You can see here some very solid static defenses to defend. And it looks like a drop was attempted here from Halcyon. However, there are a decent number of air superiority fighters still for De Rosa that rallied and took out most of those transports. So some units did make it ashore. Let's see what Lao does in response. Also some T3 gunships coming in, but again, don't know where. Here they come. Yeah, Halcyon's air superiority fighters are, but now it's over friendly AA, so we'll see what happens. And it's going to be, for the moment, looks like it's going the Rosa's way. More transports coming in, though, but rapidly losing air superiority fighters. Wow, a lot of transports coming in. So if he manages to get those ashore, that one goes down. That one goes down as well. Yeah, they're all coming one at a time, though, so suffering from that fire. Galactic Colossi making the mistake of going into the water. Large offshore platoon here with quite a few experimentals from Civ Corp, so probably what they're going to be using to take the central island back. So yeah, unfortunately that drop was not effective from Halcyon. I did not see this over here, which is a artillery support bot coming ashore and doing some damage, but looks like it's eventually going to go down here. We've got another. This guy's a little more substantial. See what happens there. So a lot of stuff happening here. Bombardment ships taking on these masses of units over here. Exactly the right kind of thing to do it, because they're all massed together there. This platoon is coming down to try and push. Gotta be careful though, because that's a lot of units down there. Bad boys on shore, causing havoc. That's what I'm saying. Like, you might think Loud is down for the count, but he's gonna make it painful. Trying to drop some units up here in the north, but that too many static defenses to handle that. Pulling back for the moment, but got some units coming out from his base to mop up the rest of this assault force. Yena Lao down here fighting some damage, but there's a lot of T3 units, especially some of these T3.5 units. They are, like this advanced battle bot, like almost, not quite comparable, but a few of those will be more than enough to deal with that assault bot. So again, sealing. Oh, here we go. Here's the big push right here. So very exciting to watch this come through. Coming ashore with some experimental assault tanks. Got an aptly seal there. So this is how they're going to break this main base here now that they've isolated force up here. Nice coordinated assault there from Halcyon and Civ Corp. And seems like it may be a bit too much for the defenses that are there. A lot of Eliash. Still taking a lot of fire though. A lot of the assault tanks went down. So again, you can see it's a well-defended base because it is taking a lot, or the humans are taking a huge beating trying to take it down. Field's coming back online, but eventually take it down. So it looks like, they will retake the center islands. Take a little bit more fire to do so. Slowly pushing out. Conquerbot coming in to provide some support, but there's just a few too many experimentals down here. Yeah, you can see the cost of the humans over here to take this was substantial. Conquerbot in retreat. And offshore bombardment still continuing. So he's got some siege tanks that can counter. Air battle going over there. Not really battle. Naval force being built back up slowly. Guys doing work, pushing in. Strap bombers in defense. Not going to be enough. And yeah, that's going to be it for the center island. So, well defended center island, but a massive experimental push from the humans was more than sufficient to clear that out. Took some losses, and we'll see if they continue to get on to the northern island over here. Bombardment ships are applying a lot of damage to these units ashore, whittling down that force, which will be helpful for the inevitable invasion. Subfleet over here. Keep him out of the water, out of his main naval yards. And the central island has been taken for the humans. A lot of offshore fire there. I thought it was an air battle over here, but it was really just Loud losing a lot of his fighters to ground-based AA. Subs engaging this mixed amphibious and hover force there. I've got a small fleet back up, but not anything sufficient to deal with the amount of naval forces that the humans had brought to bear. Starting to slowly lose numbers here on this force ashore. Siege tanks trying to do some work, but don't think it'll be sufficient to counter battery what we have offshore. Naval forces, it's a lot of fire right there. And yes, that will be more than sufficient, it seems, to deal with this attacking force. It's going down. Appears that humans have stopped their assault here for the moment to re-rally, regroup. Got a lot of conquests. I didn't see this before. Experimental battleships over here, so that will be an excellent tool to help push in and deal with some of these defenses on shore. Cannons on there are substantial. That thing. Just call it the Yamato Mark II. So yeah, it's got those Gauss cannons that can fire from extreme range, and then what I would call secondary batteries, but in reality are battleship guns of their own off the sides. Bombardment ships still going down. Moving in on this northern naval yard that Loud has managed to reestablish, so will not allow him to get reestablished in the water. So a excellent naval and land combined arms attack, pushing towards and on the main islands for the AI. Yeah, these conquests are just going to apply a lot of damage. Yeah, even with that shield level against that many, I mean, how many is that? 10 conquests? Gonna take another one coming up there. It's gonna be very difficult for Loud to be able to counter that. Shields won't be able to hold up at all. Bombardment ongoing. Naval yards being taken down by Halcyon. Offshore bombardment still continuing for some counterfire on these absolutions, I believe. So, yeah, offshore bombardment continuing of that mass of units. Andromeda still holding the main bay of Loud, preventing him from getting in. Conquests flying DPS offshore, softening up for a potential land invasion from sizable experimental force right there. Units are slowly being whittled down. Or taking a while. Losing some units, and yeah, some of this counter battery fire is semi-effective. Conquests are doing what they can. Ooh, got an Inquisitor out here. I'll watch out for that. Gonna try and counter battery, but I think he's getting a little too close to these conquests. If they concentrate fire on that Inquisitor, they're gonna very quickly. Trying to push faster over here. Naval yards have been defeated. Small flotilla coming around over here, but it is not going to be enough to deal with what the AI have, or what the humans have marshaled over here on the western side. And there it is. Yeah, see that Inquisitor starting to take battleship fire, experimental battleship fire. Yeah, he gets chunked one of those. That's him. You're just to get back in the shields or in the water. You gotta make a choice there, friends. So you're gonna go down very quickly. And he has decided he's gonna make a run back for the shield. We'll see if he makes it. Square shield is down because, again, that is way too much fire coming from these ships offshore. Not much they're going to be able to do against that. Inquisitor went down? Nope. Managed to make it back in and hide. Kingcrafter being built, but may not live to see full life. Well, trying to push down with a small T1, T2 fleet, but that's just going to get obliterated when it gets there. And offshore bombardment, still not really going either direction. Again, getting counter-batteried by some of these Absolution siege tanks on shore. Maybe not enough DPS to break through some of the shield domes. So we'll keep an eye on what's going on over there. Trying to get reestablished in the water here, but no subs or anything like that. A very short-lived experience. Conquests are pushing up a little more aggressively. Crafter is down. Oh, there's another crafter over here, though. Couple Colossi. And here comes this T2 fleet, but it is not going to be enough to deal with this naval force here. More a question of how fast it's going to go down. Now, these don't have any. I mean, if we'd done mass subs, it might have been something, but some sub support here. And yeah, those are going to go down. Now, what's going on this side? Nothing too exciting yet. Some surface ships here in the bay applying a little bit of pressure if possible. It's not even fair for these T2 ships. Just getting obliterated. And a lot of the shields, though, are down in this main base here, though, so... Oh, square shield popping back online. Oh, experimentals are moving forward, so we'll keep an eye on that down here. Going to launch a amphibious invasion. Loud's last remaining naval force has been obliterated. Conquests and supporting ships from Most Lost Noob are bringing the pain to this base over here. Have to seal them on there. A lot of offshore fire. But even still, again, this is one of the things. It's a lot of units applying a lot of DPS, but this base is still holding up for the moment. Which again is impressive and just goes to show how Loud will build a solid defense in his main base, and you will take a lot of work to try and break it down. If you don't do it quick, he'll counterattack you in ways like you kind of saw down here. He'll try and find gaps in your defenses to make you pay for waiting. We got here, we got some experimental hover tanks offshore, supplying some more support. Its main assault force staging in the water. Not sure what's going on with these guys. They seem stuck there, but keep an eye on that. And a big boom there in the main base. Don't know if it's a commander or experimental resource generator. Hard to know at the moment, but definitely reduce the amount of time to lay waste to the remainder of the base. And again, you guys look stuck. Uh-oh. Visitor getting a little too far forward there. That's gonna go well for you. So yeah, I would say both interesting and smart choice. So instead of just trying to wail on these units over here, kind of brought forces up and around to these sides. So humans not attacking where the AI is strongest, attacking where it's weakest, which I can only commend them for doing. Yathoth trying to come ashore here, going to engage directly with this galactic colossus. And goes down very quickly because there's a King Crafter there on shore. So again, not an easy fight to try to get ashore into this base of the AI. And he still got his two main bases. This is mostly a secondary base, I would say. Experimentals seem to have unstuck themselves. And what's going on in the center here? Are being brought down by naval gunfire. DPS again being applied at this main base. Shields are holding up for now, but again, reducing his ability. It's going to be very costly. See that right there? He's down to 1%. So slowly whittling him down, and then again, just drawing a lot of power to try and keep those shields online. So this base looks like it is thin. Support commanders falling back, remaining experimentals and units falling back. Another Yathoth in the water, trying to come ashore. What do we got building here? Trying to build a Mothra. Not going well. And that commander's down. So this base has been completely reduced. Conquests are moving up to provide additional fire support on this base right here of Fel-Yuhesh. And with these guys already providing this offshore fire support that is making those shields strain, that's going to be more than enough to cause problems. Yathoth into the backside of the base, going down very quickly though. And looks like the land assault is about to begin out of the water. Oh, there's a massive drop over here I did not see. Assault tanks coming ashore. A lot of galactic colossi. Oh, and some Alpha Seals over here. So at the very least, it should be enough to whittle down this force. Main base under attack here. Assault tanks coming ashore with Eliash. And with that offshore naval gunfire, it will probably be sufficient to deal with the remainder of this base. Fair amount of experimentals in defense, though. At a minimum, they are meat shields. But things are going down. Big boom there. And, yeah, I don't know how Halcyon micros all these units. Got another big drop of units there. Dropped a bunch of units over here. GCs appear to be holding that, but that force was defeated. This base, though, is going down. Offshore fire support, more than sufficient to push in and deal with it. Gunships coming in to try and assist over here. And the main base for Cell is being reduced. Conquests. Ooh, losing a conquest there. Again, yeah, got some Mothras online, so those are going to bring a lot of pain against some of those battleships. Not going to be enough to change the outcome of the battle, but it'll make it very difficult. He's going to lose a couple of these conquests here, probably. Yeah, that one goes down. That one's going to take some fire. We'll see if it's... Ouch, yeah. This force is pushing in, though. Halcyon doing another drop over here. Awasa out as well. Running some additional fire support. And main base, again, losing a lot of these, like lost conquest, losing a lot of these experimentals. It is a fight to the finish, that is for sure. Some Athu Seals here. It's like GCs are being taken down over here though. Main base, while land push may not succeed, I'm going to take a substantial amount of damage. Offshore fire. And there goes Fell. Down for the count. GCs are down, and all that is left is the main base of DeRosa, which is taking so much fire that will not last long, even with a lot of these conquests being taken out by these Mothras. Excellent play by the humans to a lot of coordination, a lot of combined arms assault. So well played on the human side to defeat these two 1.5 AIs. That's not an easy task. It was not an easy task for me, but then again, I am not the best player. Now just see this final little assault right here, and it looks like that is going to be all she wrote. Speed through that there. More fire support inbound. Thotha running around in the backfield. And big boom there. That will help bring this to a conclusion. And that looks like it is going to be a victory for the humans. A very well-fought game. What looked like might be a stalemate there in the middle was broken by excellent play from the humans. Excellent naval play, amphibious evasions, combined arms. Yeah, just they put it all together. Support commanders there. Oh, and there goes last commander and a couple Mothras. And DeRosa has been defeated. Well, appreciate you guys for watching, and I will hope to see you all in the next one, and have yourselves a wonderful day. Be sure to come join the Loud group on Fridays or Saturdays, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.